Hello, YouTube. We are back with some more match commentary. This was taken over at Dean's Dugout on New Year's Eve. So it's a bit of a smaller crew just because, you know, people had stuff to do and it was the holidays. So we did try to get some content for you guys. So we'll have 2 rounds from this, I guess, local scene that'll be uploaded this week. I'm joined by my brother from another mother, TJ.
It's me, the mother from another brother. That's my running gig for this gag. I can't talk today, dude. Oh my god.
You're good. We'll get there. We'll get there. But Happy New Year's, everybody. You know, the channel's been growing a lot this past year, so thanks for all the support.
Yeah.
And we're excited to see what 2024 brings. As always, we have the links to our socials down below, including Twitter, our Instagram, our Discord, and our TCG player affiliate link. So please do feel free to check those out. This round we'll be having a Bloomlord mirror. We've got a good amount of Bloomlord content this past couple weeks, so hopefully it's not too overbearing for you guys. But we've got myself playing Bloom on the right and Gabe playing Bloom. Well, yeah, the mirror on the left. And enough chit chat here. Let's just hop right into the round.
So you're a Bloom enjoyer.
Yes.
You don't. I wouldn't say you're a Bloom stan necessarily. You dabble in the practice, but you don't. Your code is not that of the Lord of Blooming. How does it feel right now to you?
I feel like it's very strong. I definitely feel the sort of like wide board or pressure that the deck can do that plays very well into the meta. You know, I think there's a lot less like wide board, like not wide board hate, but like control hate. You know, like I think Bloom wasn't doing very well with like bouncing and Black Orb having like a lot of Hades floating around, and now that we're seeing like Yellow Vaccine and Fenry that are a little bit like slower for setup, we have that, like Bloom players have that tempo to kind of put that early pressure going. Yeah.
Which, speaking about tempo, both you and Gabe have pretty well. Gabe had a little bit of a rough start. He had a hard drop at level 4, but when you're level 4 is a 4 drop, it's not too bad. But you have pretty good tempo going right now. You got
Uko, and then I've got the Lily Ace to go right into the kind of reset Gabe's board. Yeah.
And that is a brick and a half.
Yeah, and Lily Ace is just, I think, really, really nice for this deck, just because, I mean, you can do so much board control with 2 pieces.
There is a lot of board building right now. Like with D Brigade, like for example, and I think like what you were saying before too. Bloom does look pretty good going into this format. Just because when there's more wide board decks in the format, I think Bloom can kind of thrive in that area. Just for the pure fact of that, usually those decks kind of take a little bit more time to set up. Sometimes they're not as aggressive; they play more defensive because they want to try and set up a big play with all their pieces. And for that same, in that same vein too, a lot of the sort of stack OTK decks, if they're slow and they miss their pieces, sometimes you just run away with the game. You just get so much of a board presence that they can't do anything. You are, oh boy, that is a board.
To kind of summarize what we were saying, so you can get back to your point, we promoted the POW, was able to use Agitar going into it to play out another Sunflowmon. We went to Blossom to get another Suspended Body, then went into Bloomlord to gain 3 memory, check for 3, and then go into Hydra to bottom deck the Blossom. But yeah, keep going.
I mean, that was it. That was the point. It was just saying that Bloom does, I agree with you. Bloom does look really good going into this right now. He does play out Terry, does finally see a rookie in the back, but I think at this point, I don't know.
We promote the Uko, but can't gain the memory since he's got the Terry on board, but we just start chipping away.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at that point. You have so many, like, unless he runs Crimson Blaze in his Bloomlord deck, there's not much that's gonna happen there. But overall, good. I mean, like a good display of just how fast Bloom can be, though. Still, because that was what, turn 3?
That was turn 3, and we're able to get a full full wide board, 2 level 6s, and I had a Quartz in hand ready to go in case I needed it. Which is just like, I mean, it's lucky on my part to draw heat. You know, like that doesn't happen all the time.
No, it doesn't. But it does just show that Bloom can do it, and Bloom is definitely a deck that, like, when it starts seeing it pieces, sometimes it can just sort of run away with the game. But oftentimes you do draw that kind of hand where for some reason it's just all your level 6s and 7s and options in hand.
Which is what you saw with my hand that I just mulliganed. 3 blooms, a Hydra, and a Wisdom Training. Which is very similar to what Gabe was having to deal with, which was unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, that was what just happened to Gabe a second ago. I've definitely seen it happen to Camry. I've definitely seen it happen to Shy back when she played. She definitely would like open hands like that all the time, and it would just be like, well, what do you do?
Right. Gabe's got a better start here, though. He goes into Pomu, then into Toga to pass turn. I go into Palmon in the back, and I go ahead and play a Lala just for the search.
Yeah, good
we
one
end
choke
up
as well.
Picking up the Pomu, or no, we pick up the Uko. So to clarify that too, as long as it has the block fairy in name, I believe you're still able to pick it up. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I believe so. I think Lala grabs anything with fairy in one of its traits as opposed to in its traits. We discussed it before with the lady, the Angel Woman, and everything else.
Because that like bracket does make it like an exact text, like you need to have it exactly there, but at the same time, you know, it works out nicely. Whereas like Seraphi doesn't work out nicely with that sort of bracket.
Unfortunately, which you think it would, but it don't.
Lily A's coming up clutch again for me. You know, I go straight into just hard Evo and then be bottom decking his last thing. He plays out his own, but unfortunately can't do much in terms of suspending and bottom decking. Since Lily Ace is an 8k and it only affects 5k or less.
It does choke you to 1 though.
It does choke me to 1, so I can't really do a whole lot. At that point, I was like, well, I had a couple top ends there. I'm like, I could go for some early aggression, but like Bloom here would just be sort of like a low value play. And here we're kind of talking about the whole like Uko picking up from Lala.
Well, and I think you couldn't even keep turn if you went into Bloom, no?
No, we couldn't. But the whole, like, you could in theory, I guess, make a case to say play Bloom and then like just next turn start spinning out bodies so that you can go for like some aggression plays. But here I'm like, again, he chokes me to 1. I think it's just better to go Agitar in the back. I didn't want to swing with the Lily just in case I hit a big body and die.
Yeah, that's fair. It's probably better. It's safer to leave the body on board, I think, too, with where you're at.
And then it looked like he was missing pieces as well. So I was just like, well, at that point, I think I had time to kind of set up, you know, and I wasn't too afraid of Lily getting removed from the field as of yet.
Yeah, makes sense.
And here I think Gabe was just trying to decide whether he wanted Uko or Agitar. Opts to go Agitar, goes into Bloom, gains a memory because Toga is already suspended. But unfortunately doesn't gain much off of the Mimi and anything else. We'll be able to swing Bloom for 2 checks. He lives because it's Agitar and Pomu. And he's just trying to decide. I think he's trying to find a good way to choke me, but now he's sort of stuck because there's not a whole lot he can do to choke.
He's kind of in a weird spot right now.
Yeah. And I think it's a fair play too. Like, he doesn't want to give me too much memory, but now that oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did. He went into quartz being like, okay, well, I don't have a great play, so just deal with it. And like, he's gonna penalize me a lot too if I end up suspending my bodies to play out stuff. So I mean, I think that's fair. I don't know if I would have done it that early because there's definitely ways I can remove it. But I mean, it's a good like deal with it play, and if you can deal with it, at least I have to commit the resources to it and like kind of slow me down so that he can kind of dig to what he needs. I think that's what he was going for. But we do decide to push up. We suspend Agitar to go ahead and I believe we'll play out the Palmon. We go ahead and draw and then search. Unfortunately, can't pick up my own quartz, but pick up a cherry. And here I'm like thinking about a couple things. I think I have a good way to remove the quartz because I do have... Oh no, I don't have it yet. I'm like, I need to dig for Hydra. That's what I was thinking right now. Was that if I can get a Hydramon, then I can get rid of the quartz pretty easily. There's no other way I can do that outside of maybe like...
Which you do have the Hydra right there.
Yeah. Outside of just like going Bloom and getting bigger and swinging into it, but we do get the Hydra to bottom deck the quartz. We gain the 3 memory off of my own effect and then the Ace effect to keep turn, and that allows me to go into Bloom, which then will gain 4 memory, pierce through Toga for 3 checks, And I think I'm sitting in a pretty decent spot right now because Gabe kind of has to rebuild, and I've got sort of everything in play again.
Yeah, you saw everything you needed to and everything.
Yeah. He plays out the Lala. I choose to... I think I remind him that the Hydra would pass turn. And then I think there he just decides to scoop.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
fair.
That's a hard spot to be in because the second you pass turns back to you, you have 4 bodies on board. You can just start swinging for game. It doesn't matter.
Right, because I think he needs to suspend.
If you can't wideboard that turn...
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you can't whiteboard that turn, there's a world where you very easily just suspend his Digimon, then bottom deck it, and it's over anyways.
Right. So, I mean, I think a pretty good illustration, like you were saying, of just like how efficient Bloom can be, even if it's in a pretty tight spot, as long as you find the right pieces, which you could say of every deck. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that does wrap out the round. Just a quick shout out here while we have you guys. So Dean's Dugout is a store that is kind of near and dear to a lot of our hearts, just because a lot of folks who play with us grew up in the area. TJ and I are kind of newer to the shop. We've been there for the past couple of years now, but you know, like the Hoffmans, Rio, they've been there since they've been like little kids, and they kind of grew up with the store. You know, there was an unfortunate event that happened this past weekend, actually just a couple hours after we left, actually, which was quite unfortunate. There was a break-in and a robbery. Thankfully, everybody is okay. Some goods were taken, but, you know, as a thank you gift, we are starting a GoFundMe. I know for those of you who are out there, you know, don't feel pressured to donate. This is by no means like a please do this. You know, this is just mainly a spread the word. Keep these folks in your thoughts. You know, they are a great couple. We love them to death. They really are just out there for the community. So we did start a GoFundMe, which will be linked in the description down below as well. If you have some spare cash to just kind of donate, feel free. If you want to spread the word, we really do appreciate it. But really just, if you could keep them in their thoughts, that would mean a lot to us. So feel free to check it out. But yeah, on that note, let us know what you guys think. Thank you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate all the support, and hopefully we can keep growing for y'all, and we'll catch you on the flippy flip. Bye-bye.